Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make another water slide. This is a great build for those of you that want to make a water park and you just didn't know where to begin. Well, you can begin with this awesome looking water slide. This is my favorite out of the 3 of them that I've made so far. Or maybe you have already started your very own water park out of the previous 2 water slides that I've made and you just want to add this awesome one to the collection. You guys have been hounding me to make some more of these and I tried to make this one as unique in relation to the previous 2 that I've made as possible, and I think that I've succeeded. This is currently my favorite one that I've made so far. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video. I think that we're going to hit right into the tutorial. So if you want to make it, here's what you're going to need. Grab yourself some green wool, some lime stained glass, some birch wood fence, some oak wood plank, some spruce wood plank, some oak wood stairs, some spruce wood slabs. That's what we're going to need to get this thing started. We will need more a little bit later on, so if you want to catalog what we have in the inventory, then feel free, grab everything that you can see in there. Once you have everything, and once you've figured out where you want to be making it, I'm going to be making it in the row of existing water slides that we have here, which you can find in the card system, by the way, or the description below if you want to check out those 2 previous water slides. Both of them are awesome. Well, we're going to want to kick off this water slide, and we're going to be starting at the end that you would actually shoot out of the slide, into the pool. Well, we're going to kick off with a row of 11 lime green wool in a row on the floor. So that'll look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We then want to take this 11th block and we want to do an up left diagonal from it, going backwards. We then want to go left by 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then do an up left diagonal, go left by 2, 1, 2. Then do an up left diagonal, go left by 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then do an up left diagonal and go left by 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the sort of row that you want to be working with. This is the beginnings of your water slide. I'll explain to you how this is going to work in a second. So once you've started off with this row, we now want to take each one of these lime green wools and we want to extend them coming towards us, making them an additional row thick by just a layer of lime green. And we don't just want to do that once, we want to do that twice. So you want to add 2 layers of lime green on top of that first row to give you a thickness of 3, like this. You guys can see what we're doing here. So once you've added that layer of lime green wool, what you next want to do is a little bit tricky. So as we're looking at this from the side, we want to have an outwards diagonal layer of a dark green wool coming out from each one of the individual rows of lime green. These dark green wools do not want to connect to each other like this. They don't want to connect like that on the corners, but they do want to still connect diagonally. Can you see what we've done here? I'm sure that you guys will be able to see, no problem. So 1 row upwards, 1 row outwards towards us, we have that row of dark green. We then want to do the same thing just with lime green wool. So like this. So from that row of dark green we want to do the same thing but this time with lime green. And the way that we're going to make it differ from the dark green wool is that we are going to add an additional row of lime green directly on top. So once you have that shelf of lime green, we're going to add an additional row of lime green wool directly on top of this. So we're just going to have something which should look like that. Now we're going to do the same thing with dark green, except it's kind of different. I did say the same thing, but we now want to 1 row above, now 1 row inwards. We want to do the same thing with dark green wool. So essentially the dark green wool is in the same, it's in the same position, really, except it's 2 rows above the row of itself, if that makes sense. As I'm looking at it now, can you see where that row of dark green is? Obviously it's just the same position, except it's 2 rows above. And that's what you want to have. Then you want to add another layer of lime green wool. This is again 1 row inwards and above the row of dark green. And this is going to be the top of the slide. What we're very slowly doing here is we are realizing the shape of the slide. And it's obviously a big tube, isn't it? And that's what we're making here. We then want to add another layer of lime green coming across the top of the slide, and you might be able to see how this is going to go now. Now that we've got over half of the slide made, we now want to, from that lime green, we want to do a row going downwards and outwards, and this is a row of dark green. So if we imagine this as kind of like, it's more like a squarish shape, because obviously circles in Minecraft don't really exist. It's kind of like dark green wool on the four corners, and then lime green wool for everywhere else. Can you see what I'm talking about? We then, once you've done your layer of dark green wool, we want to have a layer of lime green, one row down and one row outwards, and then we'll do another layer just below it, exactly how we did on the opposite side. Once you've got one side down, you guys will be able to do the other side no problem. And then we'll just connect it together. Remember, add the additional layer of lime green wool underneath each one of these, and then we'll be able to connect it together with a layer of dark green wool, which will bridge the gap between where we very first started and where we have just been building. So you guys can see one row inwards, and it's just basically sandwiched in between here. And this is kind of tricky to place, so I'll just place some blocks inside of here, and I'll clear those out later. It's not necessary that it's clear inside the slide now. I'll have to go in there later anyway, because we'll be adding water in there. So we want to have something which should look a little bit like this. And this is the part of the tube, like this is the flatter part. Once you've succumbed to gravity, this is the part that you'd come shooting out at. So once you've done that, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to come to the very back of the slide here. And we're going to take these bottom two lime green walls, right? And we're going to take these and we're going to extend these backwards by 3. That'll be 1, 2, 3, like this. And then, as we're looking sideways at it, we want to do 2 up left diagonals coming towards the back. That's 1 and 2, like this. And if you want, you can double up on this. Then, on top of those second up left diagonals, we want to go up by 17. And by the way, this can be made bigger or smaller. I kind of like this amount of drop. So we're going to go up by 17. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. But that could very well, if you like. It doesn't really change much. You can change that to 40 or 50 or 100 or whatever sort of crazy drop you want on your water slide. We're then going to take these 17th blocks and we want to do 2 up left diagonals from them. That'll look like 1 and 2. We then want to go left of those second up left diagonals by 9. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And what you're going to see now is what we kind of have is kind of an S shape. Well, a reverse S shape. Kinda. That's what we're working with. And I'm just going to double up on that row that we have just above here. I'm just going to bloop, bloop, add all of that lime green in. So we'll have something which should look like that. Now, let me explain to you what we're going to be doing next. We're basically just going to be building up the rest of the slide, right? So we're going to be making the rest of this a tunnel. And it's quite simple, I guess. So starting from where we have this first initial row of dark green wall that we started with, we're going to extend this backwards, and then we're going to do an up left diagonal from it, and then we're going to extend this upwards, and it's going to trace along the inside of the row of lime green wool that we have. I'm sure that you guys will be able to see why we're doing this. Once you understand how this slide's built and like the pattern that it kind of follows, I mean, everything else is kind of easy. And once we've done that with dark green wool, we want to do the same thing with the 2 lime green wool rows. So we just want to extend the lime green wool upwards, and we want this to trace along the inside of this. So if you just kind of like follow the pattern of that, you just kind of trace along and you don't have anything connect anywhere, you have something which kind of looks like this at the top. And it might be a smart idea for us to... No, you know what? Never mind. We can figure this out. So that's what you want to have. We then want to add, of course, another layer of lime green wool, don't we? So we then want to add the second layer of lime green wool coming up, because that's what we have on top of here. So we just want to add the layer of lime green, like this. Then we want to have a layer of dark green wool, but this is where things start getting a bit tricky, of course. So can you see where we have this bend here? Where we have this bend, we want to have a layer of lime green wool added directly on top of this. So we kind of just want to add an additional lime green wool all the way on top of this, moving upwards like that. We then want to add an additional layer directly on top of that. So we'll just add another layer of lime green wool on top of that, like this. So you've added 2 layers of lime green, right? We then want to, add dark green wool, we want to then trace along the inside of this shape once again, and we just want to, like I said, we kind of just want to be 1 row inwards in relation to the lime green, and kind of like 1 row above. It's kind of weird, but it makes sense when you look at it, or at least I hope it does. So you can see it ends up looking a little something like this. And then we want to do the same thing with the lime wool. So it's on the outside above the dark green wool. As you look at it, like obviously like it comes out further than the dark green, so you just want to extend that row outwards, and then we just want to have the layer of lime green wool that sits 1 row above the layer of dark green, and we will extend this all the way to the very top of the slide to the end here. So we just want to extend this to the end, and then we can add an additional layer of lime green because this is the top of the slide. And once we've done this, we'll modify the slide a little bit. So there we go, so we have all of the lime green. Let's add the dark green. So we'll add the dark green. It starts here, it actually comes here, it sits on the inside completely, so we have like that corner bend, that 90-degree bend, and then it sits inside of the lime green wool like this. It's kind of tricky to tutorial this part, to be honest, but I'm hoping that you guys can see the logic behind it. So what we can now do, it's easier this way, we can now take the next row of dark green wool, and if we just use this row of dark green wool here as kind of a template for where the lime wool is going to sit in, I think it will just be easier this way. So we can just add the row of dark green in here, like this, and then you can see quite simply where all of the lime is going to go. So then if you just basically color in the lines, so to speak, then you'll be able to see quite easily where all of the lime wool is going to go. There's no guessing, you don't have to add a couple of layers of lime green on top or anything like that. That was the most inefficient way of adding in those rows that I've ever seen that I just did there. I don't know why I did it like that, but you can see that you can kind of just like color in between the lines of the dark green wool now, and it just makes things a little bit easier. So we just want to have something which should look, let's have a look at this side first, which should look a little bit like that. You can see that the slide now kind of bends in the way that it's supposed to. It bends on this side, it looks great, and it looks the same on this side as well. And that's the slide. Now, we'll modify this in a second actually. First, we're going to build the supports for the slide, and then we'll start messing with the slide. We can add glass to it, we can expose some of the slide in some parts, but let's build the support for it, and then we'll work on that, because the support's quite important. So, we want to come all the way up to the top of the slide here, right? Okay, so up at the top of the slide here, we want to take this bottom left-hand corner dark green wool, and we want to place a spruce wood plank in front of it. We then want to go left of that plank by 1. Extend that plank backwards by 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then go right of that by 11. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We then want to move this 11th block forward by 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we want to connect it all the way over to the opposite side, like this. And it wants to connect with the bottom right hand corner dark green wool. That's where it wants to connect, guys. Nothing else to say about that. Well, what we can now do is we can take out, and we don't have this material on us, we can grab ourselves some oak wood slabs, and we can do a layer of oak wood slabs on the lower half of the spruce wood plank. So we can just do a layer of oak wood slabs, and this is where people are going to walk around at the top of this water slide, like this. And then we can grab ourselves the spruce wood slabs again, and then you can kind of just decorate the top of this a little bit. Like you can add a spruce wood slab like just on the corners and like on the edge of the slide and stuff, just to make it look a little bit more interesting like that. So obviously people would be going into the slide there, right? And we can just have this on the corners. That's fantastic. Well, now we have to add some supports for the slide. We can't really just have this giant platform without some supports. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the oak wood planks, and we're going to extend the 4 corners of this platform down until the 4 corners hit the ground. Is that the right block? Yeah, it was. Until the 4 corners hit the ground. And then we're going to decide, because this big giant platform, it's going to have a lot of stairs so that we can actually elevate ourselves so that we can get up to the top of this slide. We're then going to have to figure out what sort of increments we want to have the walkway in. So we want to figure out, like, oh, do we want to have a set of stairs every 5 rows? Do we want to have a set of stairs every 6 rows? 7? You guys get the idea. Any sort of like increment we want, we can have the stairs. So we'll have something which should look a little bit like that so far. But they're not the only supports that we're going to add to this thing. We're also going to add a support here, right where the slide bends, right at the top. We're going to add a support either side here for the slide, because I would imagine that such a big slide, if it existed in real life, and it does, even bigger slides exist than this, have some supports, because it can't just... Gravity exists, so it's pulling it down to the ground. It needs some support so that it can actually stay up, right? Okay, so we've added 2 there. Plus, I figured that we would also add a couple of supports at the top, so we're just going to take, like, let's say this middle block here, or at least it looks close enough to the middle block, and we're going to add ourselves, no, actually, we won't, because we're going to add even more supports. We'll add another support here. So, can you see where we have this support just like underneath this spruce wood that we placed a slab on top of? We'll add another one here as well. So right here. So can you see this spruce wood that we have a slab on top of? We'll extend this down to the ground. So we have yet another support, because I figured that you would, like right at the top of the slide, you'd want that to be nice and steady. And now we can decide where we want to have a support, like midway around the slide here. So maybe like one here, and I think I did the same thing on the opposite side as well. So here, we can add 2 supports. This isn't going to look directly like my original slide, but I think that we're making it look a little bit better like this. So we're just going to add the 2 oak wood supporting rows, extending down to the ground like this. So now we have a load of supports. Now it looks a little bit more realistic, doesn't it? Well, now it's time for us to figure out, like I said, we're going to have to figure out where each one of the rows are going to go. Like, do we want increments of 5? Do we want increments of 6? Well, okay, so this next part is tricky, and it's kind of up to you with how you want to do this. So I'm just going to delete one of these back supports, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to build this up. But you might not like this effect. Plus, you might have made your water slide ever so slightly bigger or smaller than mine, so it's not always applicable. So where I've destroyed this row, I'm going to rebuild it, and I'm going to add increments of spruce wood planks into it. And this is going to signify where each one of the levels where we'll have a staircase is going to be. So I'm going to start from this block, and I'm going to do a row of 6 oak wood planks from the ground. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then I'm going to place a spruce wood plank. I'm then going to do another row of 6 oak wood planks. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then a spruce wood plank, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, spruce wood plank, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I've hit the top of this. So obviously it might have been a bit better if the water slide was ever so slightly bigger, as in just like 1 block bigger, because then it'd be evenly placed. But it doesn't matter. You can make this as big or as small as you want, and that's what I've done. So I'm now going to just add in the exact same positions on all of the other rows, where I'm going to be marking out and placing each one of these like little platforms. Basically, we're going to be adding a load of platforms into the sport here, and it's going to, just like I said, it's going to signify where the platforms are going to go, and hence the stairs, because we cannot just have a massive row of stairs built into this thing. That won't look very good to be. Well, actually, you know what? It would look kind of good if we just had like a ladder system or something. Then that would look fine. But I'd much prefer it to have like a traditional like set of stairs that kind of like wind up and reach the top. But any way that you want to do this is perfectly fine. You can see me doing this here, and you want to do the same thing. You just want to add these spruce wood planks going all the way around the supports, and you can do the same thing for the part of the supports that aren't actually necessary to climb the slide as well. So you can just add the same increments in here for this part of the slide as well. So the part that actually support the slide and not like the walkway, you can also add the same increments, because we're going to be connecting a lot of this together. A lot of this is going to get connected together. We're going to make it look nice. It's going to look like an actual proper support system, and it's going to look, well, it's going to make it look a little bit better if everything's connected. I do think that each one of these are in the same position. I'll have to double check a little bit later on that all of these spruce wood planks are actually being placed the same, because sometimes I'm a little bit silly with these things. But there you go. What you can also do is at the top here, where we have the oak wood planks that connect to the top of the slide, you can replace them with spruce. Plus, you can do a row of upside down oak wood stairs just underneath the lip of the slide. It makes it look a bit better. Let's do the same thing on the opposite side. So underneath here, I'm just going to do a row of spruce wood planks, or I'm going to replace those with spruce wood planks, and then do a row of upside down oak wood stairs. Makes it look a little bit nicer. Now, let's talk about each one of these platforms that I keep rabbiting on about. So what we want to do is this, and it's going to look a little bit weird. We're going to add a row of spruce wood slabs directly underneath each one of the rows of spruce wood planks. So it's going to look a little something like this. And we're first of all just going to connect the actual like support for the stairs together, the rectangular shape that I'm connecting together now, and then later on we'll also add the supports in and stuff. So the reason that we're adding it one row below is because we are going to be adding fence to this, and if we have the spruce wood slabs in a line, in a logical line like this, then if you take the fence, place it on top, it doesn't connect, and I don't like that. I'd rather have the fence in line than the slabs in line. So I guess it's just a personal choice. You can place the slabs where you like. I like them where they are. I like them just half a block below. I think it makes it look ever so slightly more interesting, but it also comes down to the fact that I'd rather have the fence like work properly than the slabs work properly, if that makes sense to you. So I like it like this, and then I can just add a row of fence on top of this later. But you can now see where each one of these walkways are going to be, can't you? So I'm now going to take out the oak wood slabs, and this will take a while, and I'm going to fill in each one of these with oak wood slabs. So I'm going to just completely fill in each one of these floors with oak wood slabs. Then I'll be adding a row of stairs to each one of these, and then we can just add the fence, and we can make the supports look a little bit nicer, and then we can move back to the actual water slide. So the supports are just as important as the slide though, I think. Like, as long as the supports look good with the slide, then everything's great. Then you can focus on what you want to add around it, but the supports kind of make the slide look great as well. Like, it's not just like the big giant green slide. I think that it's everything kind of coming together. I like the supports a lot too, so I don't know, maybe I'm spending a lot of time on this, but I think it's quite important to the aesthetic of the slide. So you can see that we've got each one of those platforms filled in. And right at the top here is where we are going to be adding in some stairs. So I'm going to be adding in stairs starting from, like, if you come all the way up to the top floor, the front left hand corner, I'm going to move in by one block, and it's going to be this row here, and I'm going to do like an oak wood stairs underneath this. So I'll just have to place like a slab, and that will be upside down, won't it? So I'm just going to have, there we go. No, come on, I'd like you to please, there we go. I think that that's in the right position now. So I can then delete that, and now we have stairs that will allow us to step down, and I'm going to place a spruce wood plank underneath each one of these. So I just want a row of stairs that taper down onto the previous row here. We don't have to get too fancy with this whatsoever. We just want to have a row of stairs that taper down onto the previous level like that. And I'm just going to keep the spruce wood planks underneath this. So that's one side. And then on the opposite side, like leading down, I'm going to start from this block here, and I'm just going to have like the same thing. I'm going to have like the same effect with the stairs. So that wants to be one. Does that want to be one block above, actually? It wants to be one block above, doesn't it? So it wants to be like here, there we go. And then I can place underneath this. I thought that it'd function the same way. Then I can taper the stairs down like this. And this will look great. It'll look great from the outside. It'll work. There's nothing wrong with this. I mean, it's a little bit sloppy, I guess, but you can have it in any way that you want. And then I'm going to just place I should be able to place a stair here. Yep, perfect. And then again with the spruce wood planks underneath these, this should be the last last one. I think this will take us down to ground level. Oh no, there's one more after this, but this is how the stairs work. You can change the positioning of the stairs how you like. You can have them how you like, but I like them like this. It's kind of up to you though. How you want to have them. Again, everything's kind of like how you want to have it. If you want to make it bigger, smaller, if you want to change the materials, if you want to do this, do that. Yellow water slide would look cool, by the way, just in case you're wondering. Yellow and blue, I think, could look pretty awesome as well. But there you go. Now you have the stairs like tapering down, and I think that looks great. I think that looks really, really cool. So once you've got that taken care of, we can now do a couple more bits. So we can like come to the edge of the water slide here. Not the edge of the water slide, we can come to like the supports, and we can add in the same spruce wood slabs that we have for the walkway, like this. So you can have the same spruce wood slabs and they can connect. I don't want them to connect to the slide like that actually. And you can connect like each one of these rows together like this, and it will look fantastic. And we'll do the same thing to the opposite side as well. So you can see that everything looks like it's connected together, and well, it is, isn't it? Everything is connected together. And we're also going to add a little bit of fence. Oh, we've just got this one. And we'll also add a little bit of a fence as well, going all the way around like the relevant part. So I'm going to use oak wood fence for this, and I'm just going to have oak wood fence going around each one of these platforms. So like where you'd be able to fall off, I just want to have oak wood fence there for these parts. I don't so much want it around the supportive parts, but I want it where like you'd actually be walking up and you'd be running up to get to the top of the water slide. I want it there. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be adding it all the way around here. And once this bit's done, guys, we can focus on the slide a little bit more. We can add like a splash pool and everything, but I think that this is really quite important for this. So you can see that now that looks actually pretty good, we can come all the way up to the top of the slide here and we can work on this a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a row of spruce wood slabs here so that we can actually like walk in to here. Or maybe you want to have like a row of like oak wood stairs here, and that'll stop the water splashing back onto you like this, right at the top of the slide. But I'm also going to expose the top of the slide a little bit, like maybe like 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks, and I'm going to just destroy the upper half of the slide here. And this is I don't know, that it's just like an aesthetic choice like this. So the top of the slide I'm going to leave exposed, and I'm going to place either I'll use birchwood fence like on the exposed open parts of the green wall parts like this, and I think that looks quite decent, doesn't it? And I'm going to head down inside the slide, because whilst I'm thinking about it, I'm going to head down inside the slide and I'm going to destroy all of the dark green wall blocks that we placed earlier right here. And then right at the end of the slide, I want the same effect. So I'm only going to delete 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like this. I'm going to delete the upper half of the first row of 5 of the end of the slide, and I think that'll look good as well. And then we can just place the birchwood fence on either side, and I think that looks quite nice. Also, another aesthetic choice for the slide. You can make it or you can't, it's up to you. You may want to, you know the part of the slide that you slide down, like the vertical part, this bit that I'm deleting right now, you might find that you like the look of glass in here. So you'd actually be able to see the water flowing through it, and you'd actually be able to see the people falling down it. You might like this. So I'm adding a glass panel to this part, and you can do this on the sides, you can do it on the front, you can do it wherever. I think this kind of makes it look cool. I think it kind of distinguishes it from all the other parts of the slide. Oh, I deleted a green wall block by accident. I think that looks kind of nice, and like I said, you could do it to like the whole part, like going around like the left, right, and back. But I like that part. Kind of makes it look, I don't know, kind of makes it look a little bit more modern. Some other things that you can do for this slide is you can make more supports. So like right at the end of the slide here, it would make sense to me if there was like another support like right near the very end. So maybe like 1 or 2 or however many blocks in you like. So I'll just have like on the second block in, you can add a support, so it can be like an oak wood plank with a spruce wood on top of it. And then if we move further backwards where we have this increment of 3 here, like if we have like the same thing, we can have another support, because I think it'd make sense. And this can be the last support that we add, because I don't think that we'd need any more. So, oh, I actually added that in the wrong position, didn't I? I extended that block down when I shouldn't have. And there we go, that looks kind of nice. And if you wanted to add one more at like the bend, like the U-bend or whatever you'd call it, like the 90-degree angle, you could also add one there if you like. But I quite like that how it is. Okay, so once you've finished all of the supports and stuff that you might want to add there, we can add some more cosmetic changes. So what I'm going to do is, in the ground here, where we have the bottom left-hand side of the supports, whoops, where am I going? I'm going to dig into the ground and I'm going to connect this to the front part of the support. So where we added that very small support, like right at the front of the slide, I'm going to dig in here and I'm going to mark out like where people will actually walk up to the slide. So I'm going to dig this out into the ground and I'm going to replace the part in the ground with spruce wood planks like this. You guys can see what I'm talking about. So we're going to turn this into a big shape and it's going to look a little something like this. Is big, isn't it? So it'll look like this. Plus we can also connect this like same corner support on the opposite side. We can run all of these supports through the ground and we can also connect everything together so we can form like a rectangular shape in the ground. If you guys can see what I'm doing, I'm basically just connecting all of the supports together. So this very front corner support, I'm going to drag this backwards and this will connect to the, well, the very back support at the back here. So you'll be able to see in a second. It's kind of difficult to describe, that's why that sounded so ridiculous. But if you can see here, like it connects in the same sort of position, just on the opposite side. Plus we can go all the way around the base of this and we can destroy in the ground and we can just create the sort of shape that we're going to have. Except I'm not going to do the very right hand side, I'm just going to connect the outer parts, because what I'm now going to do is I'm going to, from this back right hand corner block in the ground, I'm going to dig out and I'm going to do a row of 6 digging out, guys. So I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm going to dig into the ground and I'm going to extend this forwards until this is in line with the very front right support. So it's going to dig into the ground and this is going to frame the water slide. It's what's going to keep it mostly symmetrical. So we can dig into the ground and we can also replace this with spruce. Plus what we can also do is we can dig into the ground from behind that support and we can connect it to the back in the same way that we did on the opposite side. So we can add the 2 very long rows and we can kind of just frame it a little bit like this. So we can take this support, you guys can see the one, we can dig this and we can dig it all the way, coming all the way to the front, and this is just going to, once again, it's just going to frame things and it's just going to show you, it's basically going to show you where you're going to be filling things in, because each one of these particular parts of the slide, each one of these sections that we're making are going to be filled in with a different material and they're going to look kind of different. So it's just for our best interest if we get this done. Plus we can also connect these 2 middle ones together in the ground as well, like this. We can then add a layer of oak wood fence all the way around this. So basically on every single one of those spruce wood blocks you can then add fence. This will take quite a long time, as you might be able to imagine, but this is where you're going to be able to walk in, this is where you'll walk up to the slide, this is where you'll be able to climb it, etc, etc. I do promise that once we've got this part taken care of, we'll take care of the pool, we'll take care of all of the other nice little things, and then we'll pretty much be done. We'll just leave it to a point where we'll be able to mass fill in a lot of this stuff and you'll be able to take a look at how, well, these things look. You'll be able to take a look at how they look is what I'm trying to tell you, which also sounds ridiculous. So we're just going to add on all of these fences. There's a lot of them, but we're almost done actually, and you'll be able to see each one of the individual sections. Like, a lot of this is going to be filled in with oak wood planks. The part underneath the slide is going to be andesite. But I think it's quite important, it makes it look good, and it's something that we have to do. See, does that not look better now that we've done that? You can see where you're going to be walking up, you can see that the under part of the slide section off. It's just something we have to do. I know it's boring, it really is, even I get bored by this sort of stuff, but it makes it look good, so what can you do? Now, let's get some different materials out, shall we? So I'm going to get rid of these and I'm going to grab like quartz slabs, I'm going to grab myself a bit of nether brick fence and some quartz stairs, I'm going to grab myself some wool, I'm going to grab red and white. I don't need the greens anymore actually. And I'm going to grab some signs, a bit of water, also need some ladders, probably need something for a seat. Let me show you what we're going to do. So just underneath this slide part here, we're going to add a row of quartz slabs that comes out as far as the actual like walkway up to the slide. So it's kind of like it's parallel to the two walkways of the slide. We then want to take the end quartz blocks and extend them forwards by as big of a pool as you want. I'm going to do in total, I'm going to do I think 11, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then I'm going to drag this over to the right, and then I'll connect it to the opposite part. So I'll just connect it all the way to this opposite part in just a second like that. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do, or what I would do, is I'd dig out that and I'd make that into a pool. But before I do that, because I kind of want to do that like off recording, we're going to have a couple of things surrounding the pool, but that's where that pool is going to be, by the way, guys. We're going to have kind of like a lifeguard chair, and we're going to have this chair just on the right hand side of the pool, probably in line with the middle-ish block of the pool, or maybe towards the end. The lifeguard chair will be made of like 2 quartz blocks coming up from the ground. We'll then stick like an oakwood stairs on top, then we'll do signs either side of it, like this. We want to do ladders coming up the front, and we want to stick like nether brick fence on the side, and that's just like a little lifeguard chair. We also want to have like a couple of sun chairs as well. So these can start at like the very edge of the pool, perhaps like here, and they can be in line with the lifeguard chair. And we want to have a row of 2 quartz slabs coming from like, so can you see the 2 rows away from the corner of the pool, they move to the side and we have 2 slabs, and then we have a quartz stair. And then we want to leave a gap of 1 between the very back of the chair, and we want to move right, and we want to place 2 nether brick fence coming up. We then want to place a red wall on top of the fence, and then we want to extend that red wall front, back, left and right to form a plus shape. We then want to go all the way around that plus shape and form an even bigger plus. It's really easy to see how you do it. We then want to do a white plus shape on top and then a red wall on top of that. So we now have a little parasol. I might move the lifeguard chair, by the way. And then we want to 1 row away from where the parasol sticks into the ground. We want to leave a gap of 1, place a quartz stair, 2 quartz slabs in front. Now we have a couple of sun chairs. I'll definitely move that. Move to the opposite side, do the same thing. So on this front left hand corner, we want to leave a gap of 2 coming away from the side. Then we want to do 2 slabs with a quartz stairs behind it. Then we want to go left by 1, leave a gap of 1, place 2 nether brick fence coming up, red wall on top, then extend that red wall coming outwards by 1. Then add another layer to make it an even bigger plus shape, as you guys can see me doing here. Then add a plus shape of white on top of this with a red stuck right on the middle. Then you want to, leaving a gap of 1 from where the parasol sticks into the ground, you want to have a quartz stair with 2 quartz slabs poking out in front, and there you have a nice little scene in front of the slide, right? We can destroy the... Or, you know what, we'll leave it, because it's not that important for this one, but I would, myself, if this was my final one, I'd move the little lifeguard chair upwards a little bit. So, what we're now going to do is, and this is the last boring part that I'm going to do on recording at the very least, we're going to decide what sort of border we want to put around this. You can see the previous 2 water parks in the distance, how they kind of have a border going around them. We want the same thing, so we want to take like, let's come all the way to the back so nothing's in the way, and we want to leave like a certain amount of space between the slide and like the edge of this place. So I'm going to move out of the back of the slide diagonally by, let's say I'm going to leave like a gap of 5, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like this, and I think that that is not big enough, so I'll go 6 and I'll go 7 like this, and I'm going to leave a gap of 7, which makes a lot more work for me, and I'm going to do the same thing coming out this back corner. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm going to come out the front. I'm going to do the same thing as well where stuff's in the way. This is a bit more complicated, so that'll be like 1, 2, 3, then this block's in the way, that'd be 4, and then 5, 6. Actually 6 would do, so I'll stick with 6, so it'll make it easier for us. And then we can do 1, 2, 3, that'll be 4, 5, 6, like that. 5, nah, 6 is great. Okay, so I'm just going to fill in the last 2 holes here, right at the back, because we only have to come out by 6 to clear the bends. And what we now have to do is we have to connect now those 6 diagonals together. and this will form a big giant rectangular shape. And once we form the rectangular shape, I'll let you know. Actually, you know what? In those 6 rows, you don't even have to dig out the rows. You don't have to dig them out and connect them together. What we can do, which makes a lot more sense, is we can just add a row of quartz slabs that connect together, like in a big giant rectangular shape. There's no reason to connect them together in the ground because I wanted to do the quartz slabs anyway. So why not just skip a few steps, and why don't I just connect everything together with a row of quartz slabs? So this will look just as good. It'll look fine. Actually, this might clash with the sunbeds a little bit, but it's something that we're just going to have to do. Make the area bigger if you don't want to clash with the sunbeds. Yeah, that's the problem with having them at this distance, but you know, what can you do? It's fine. It's fine because you guys have seen what it looks like anyway in the first at the very start of the video. So you know what this thing looks like. It looks great. You can make it a bit bigger if you want, so you don't have things clash with each other, but this is how it's going to go. So we have a nice big border around this. So this is what you want to have. You have a nice big border going around your park. We're also going to, by the way, I should do this because I was going to leave it, but I'm not going to now. Just left of the pool, I like a place to get out, so I'm going to destroy this row of 3, and I'm going to destroy the row of 3 below it, and I'm going to do a row of stone slabs inside the top of this. And I'm going to do a row of, I wish I hadn't gotten rid of everything, I'm going to do a row of oakwood stairs that goes into the pool. And the pool is only going to be 1 block deep, so the stairs will look like this, and the pool will only be 1 block. So it will obstruct the pool a little bit, but what can you do? And then I'm going to, with spruce wood fence, I'm going to do spruce wood fence either side of the little part where we'd get out. So if you can see that, we've got a row of 3, then we've got stairs walking in and out of the pool, and we just have the spruce wood fence either side. Next step is to do this. Let me explain, and this will be easier to see what you've got to do once I've done this. I'm going to dig this out. I'm going to dig out the area inside the pool. I'm going to replace it with water. I'm going to dig out the area all the way around the slide, the area that I've just sectioned off, replace that with birchwood planks. I'm going to dig out this area here around the part that we'd actually like walk up inside the slide. I'm going to replace that with oakwood planks, and I'm going to dig out the area underneath the slide and replace that with andesite. This is going to take an insane amount of time. I'm going to cut it out of the video, but the last thing that we will do after I've done this out, we will come back and we'll add the water to the slide because that is my favourite part. So I'll be back in a second. Once I've done all that, you'll be able to quite clearly see what you have to do once I'm actually on that part and once I've actually finished it. So I'll be back in a second and you'll see what you have to do. Alright, so that is finally finished, guys. That took quite a while, actually. I think that took well over 20 minutes to do. So, what have I done? I have added birchwood planks all the way around the outside of the water slide. I've filled the actual splash pool in with water. I have filled the walkway going all the way up to the slide in with oakwood planks. And I have also filled in that area underneath the slide with andesite. Everything's looking pretty nice now. It's looking pretty good. We also have to create an entrance here so that we can actually like walk up to the slide on either side. That can be wherever you want. I would suggest at the end though. And the only thing that we have left to do here is that we just have to make the slide so that we can actually use it. We have to add some water to this thing, and to do that, obviously, we just have to add buckets of water to it. So we just add buckets and buckets of water to it until it actually works, until the water actually flows. So at the top, we want it to be still so that we can walk down. And then the water, just because of our all-power gravity, will flow all the way down to the bottom here. And we can just fill in the bottom with water like this. And we can just fill in the bottom with water. Anywhere that you have flat parts, you might want to make it so that you have still water. Because of the increments in this slide, I mean, it does flow and it does look good from the inside, no matter, I mean, you won't really be looking at it from the inside obviously, but you'll get that nice water flow. It'll look great. And right at the end here, I just messed this up. What have I done here? Have I placed it there? Is that the issue? And it wouldn't make sense for that to happen, so we'll just delete those 2 blocks. What am I doing here? Is it... hang on, let me see why it's flowing like that. It shouldn't flow like that, should it? Or should it? I think it should actually come out like that. Why not? That looks fine to me. Why not? So there you go. So you can just add the water to the water slide, and then obviously let's pretend that we actually walked up to the top of here. I don't actually want to do it. If we want to take said water slide, then we can hop in here. We can hop in the pool. We can swim our way just a little bit, and then our old pal gravity, we can actually look at the outside of this thing, which looks kind of cool. It looks great from the outside, and then bloop, a big giant drop, and then we got to swim a little bit. There's a little bit of swimming, guys. You got to put a little effort in, and then woo, we go down one of these little bumps, and then we have another one. It's like whitewater rapids, and then another one, and then another one, and then before you know it, guys, extremely fast, record-breaking, land speed record, boom, it hit the bottom of the splash pool, looking great. And then obviously we can also walk out the splash pool with the stairs on the left-hand side here, and there we go, guys. That is the water slide. Hopefully you like it. Hopefully I didn't gloss over the ending part a bit too quickly. Remember, outside birchwood planks, water in there, oakwood planks in there, and then andesite underneath the slide. I'm sure that you guys can see where you have to add it. It's as simple as that. If you enjoyed this video, guys, if you did, I'd really appreciate it if you could give this video a like. I honestly would. I'd love that no end if you could give this video a like. I'd really appreciate it. Comment down below, what else do you want to see me make next? Do you want to see any more water slides added to the water park repertoire? Let me know. Follow me on Twitter at TSMC360. Also, check out the cards and the description below for everything that I'm going to be leaving in there. Not only will I leave you my previous 2 water slides, this is my spiral water slide, and that is just my vanilla regular old water slide over there, but I'll also leave you a couple of other playlists that I think that you guys might really enjoy. I'm trying to figure out what would make a good thumbnail here for this water slide. Do you reckon this view would look good? I think that looked quite nice, or maybe a side profile of this thing might get. Yeah, I like that. I like the side profile. That's looking pretty good. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.